Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. 22 touristic sites are offered for investment in various governorates of the Sultanate. Trade volume exchange between the Sultanate and Brazil increases by 40% during the first half of the current year. And more than 416 Omani citizens work in Oman Dry Dock Company in the Special Economic Zone at Duqm. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos has sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud of Somalia on his country's National Day. His Majesty the Sultan sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Paul Kagame of Rwanda on his country's National Day. His Majesty sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency David Johnston, Governor-General of Canada, on his country's National Day. And His Majesty Sultan Qaboos sent a cable of greetings to His Excellency President Pierre Nkurunziza of Burundi on his country's National Day. 22 touristic sites were announced by the Ministry of Tourism in an offer for investment in various governorates of the Sultanate within the context of efforts aimed to encourage investment in accommodation, tourism establishments and service utilities. The offered investment opportunities were construction for hotels, camps, complexes, restaurants and recreational centres. On the other part, Oman Development Bank mentioned that a number of touristic projects which were financed by the bank until the first quarter of this year were 338 establishments worth more than 42 million Omani riyals. Trade volume exchange between the Sultanate and Brazil increased by 40% in the first half of the year. Within the two countries' efforts to enhance economic cooperation, the Arab-Brazilian Chamber of Commerce plays its role in bringing close Arab and Brazilian entrepreneurs through which deals were concluded in both public and private sector levels. More than 12 million Arabs and Muslims work in the North American country in various economic and commercial activities. Islamic centers in Brazil play an important role to enhance communication among the community members. Some of them arrived in Brazil since the beginning of the 19th century, while others arrived there in the last 4 decades to be their home. In the first mosque established in Brazil, tens of Muslims from different nationalities gather to perform prayers and discuss issues of concern, and those who are fasting come together for iftar and suhoor during the holy month of Ramadan. More than 416 Omanis work in Oman Dry Dock Company Odyssey in the Special Economic Zone at Duqm, and they represent 26% of the Omanization rate, which is expected to raise by 28% during the current year. The company invested more than 2 million Omani riyals in the job training and short courses locally and internationally to qualify the employees. It also has a human resources training center that provides technical training in the field of production, quality control and communication. Despite the difficulties of working in technical sections of Odyssey, the Omani youth are keen and ambitious to participate in the development of the company. Sujin Park, the production manager of Oman Dry Dock Company, has this to say.
Compared for in other Middle East country, this Oman and this Odyssey, there are many active moving for our local Omani person. And so even if they are too low experience for in this field, will be a future, I think it will be very bright, because there are many too intelligent or to also to person to be behavior.
Still to come in our news bulletin. UNESCO granted its world-prized heritage status to a prehistoric cave in southern France containing the earliest known figurative drawings. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. For the international world, the Egyptian Ministry of Interior reports second police officer is dead as explosives expert works to defuse a series of bombs planted near the presidential palace in Cairo. It added that several others wounded in the explosion in Cairo's Heliopolis district today, mentioning the security forces were defusing one makeshift bomb found at a street intersection near the presidential palace when a second device exploded. 8 people were hurt in the series of explosions last week on Cairo's metro, the first attack in the capital since Abdel Fattah al-Sisi became president this month. 35 soldiers from Syrian army, among them 9 officers, were killed in a blast targeted them in Rahjan village in Hama eastern countryside, as it was announced by activists. Meanwhile, the Syrian war planes shelled using detonating drums villages in Hama countryside amidst clashes of the southern side of the city between the army and opposition forces. Warplanes also carried out raids on a number of areas in Idlib, resulting in 38 casualties, most of them civilians. The 16th edition of the Ironman took place in Klagenfurt, Austria. For more than 3,000 athletes, over 60 countries gathered in the Austrian town for the event, which consisted of a 3.8-kilometer swim, 180.2-kilometer bike ride, and finished with a 42.2-kilometer run. Ivan Runner of Spain claimed the man's title with a time of 7 hours 48 minutes and 43 seconds. After the incredible performance in the bike and run, he missed out on breaking the record set by Marino van Hoek of Belgium back in 2011 by just a few minutes. In the women's race, American Lindsey Corbin proved again what superb from her is. She smashed the course record with a time of 8 hours 42 minutes and 42 seconds, destroying the field and seizing the title from compatriot Mary Beth Ellis. Simone Brandley of Switzerland came second, just before the best Austrian female athlete Lise Hoteler win of the Ironman 70.3 in Luxembourg earlier this month. A vast Paleolithic cave dating back from more than 36,000 years ago was selected as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. More details in the following report.
This is the way to step back in time 36,000 years, to when man began inhabiting these caves. This elaborate hidden network of caverns in the Ardèche Valley of southern France was only discovered by modern man in 1994. Until then, nobody had set foot in here in 20,000 years.
La grotte Chauvet, c'est un petit peu l'histoire de la Belle au bois dormant.
The story of the Chauvet cave reminds me of Sleeping Beauty. It fell asleep after a landslide that completely blocked the Paleolithic entrance, preventing men and animals from entering. The atmosphere inside is very stable, and therefore these paintings and all the remains on the ground have been preserved.
Et des éléments au sol aussi d'ailleurs.
The cave has 800 meters of halls and galleries, and ceilings up to 18 meters high, a space bigger than France's most famous Paleolithic cave at Lascaux. Around 1,000 charcoal finger paintings remain intact, representing 14 animal species, including mammoths, cave lions, and woolly rhinos that all became extinct at the end of the Ice Age. Access to the cave, located in Vallopon d'Arc, the gateway to the Ardèche Canyon, is forbidden to the general public. The paintings are too fragile to go on display. But this workshop makes meticulous reproductions.
Parfois on devine l'intention, comme des lions qui chassent.
Sometimes it's easy to guess their meaning, such as lions hunting mink. But sometimes it's more difficult. For example, when you see rhinos or horses stacked on top of each other, we're not sure what that means exactly, but it's probably something spiritual.
Next year, for the first time, the public will be able to experience the Chauvet Cave, or at least a replica of it. A man-made cavern is being built just down the road, complete with paintings and other atmospheric details.
The challenge here is to properly reflect the soul, the feeling and the vibration that you feel in the original cave. We will include the drawings of men and the scratchings of bears and skeletal remains of prehistoric animals.
400,000 people are expected to visit annually, looking for a glimpse of how our Paleolithic ancestors saw their world.
Here are the Ramadan times for tomorrow. Fajr prayers will be at 3:56 a.m. and Maghrib prayers will be at 7:03 p.m. Now for the general weather forecast. Clear to partly cloudy skies will prevail over the coastal areas of the governorates of the far and nearby mountains with chances of intermittent drizzle. Rest of the Sultanate will have clear to partly cloudy skies with chances of rainfall over parts of the Hajar Mountains. Winds will be southwesterly moderate to active along the coast of Arabian Sea, while it will be southeasterly light to moderate along the rest of the Sultanate. Seas along the coastal areas of Arabian Sea will be rough with a maximum wave height of 3.5 meters, and along the rest of the southern coast it will be moderate to rough with a maximum wave height of 3 meters. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. 22 touristic sites are offered for investment in various governorates of the Sultanate. Trade volume exchange between the Sultanate and Brazil increases by 40% during the first half of the current year. And more than 416 Omani citizens work in Oman Dry Dock Company in the Special Economic Zone at Duqm. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom, it's good night.